Chief of Defense Staff, General Olashikanakan. Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Buratai. Vice Chief of Army Staff of the United States, General McConville. Chief of Naval Staff, other distinguished generals, admirals, and military leaders, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I am the Chargé d'Affaires of the U.S. Embassy here in Abuja, and it's been my privilege the last year and a half to serve here in Nigeria. Previously, I worked in Zambia and Sudan and other African countries, and I am a big believer in the commitment that we share to partnership with our friends and allies and partners across the African continent. Early in my diplomatic career, I served in Vietnam, a nation with which the United States obviously has a long and complicated military history. During my tour in Hanoi, I learned about the story of Captain Roger Donlin, the first person to win the Medal of Honor for his actions in that conflict. Captain Donlin was the commanding officer of a small special forces team near Nam Dang. Before dawn, on July 6, 1964, a battalion of Viet Cong forces attacked the camp with mortars, grenades, and heavy gunfire. Over the next 5 hours, Captain Donlin was wounded 4 times, in the stomach, in the leg, in the shoulder, and in the face. Undeterred, he continued to fight. He spent the attack moving from man to man, post to post, inspiring his troops, checking on their welfare, and caring for the wounded. Captain Donlin's story is one of individual heroism, certainly, but it is more than that. It is about the power of leadership, collective bravery, and teamwork. And although his unit was outmanned and outgunned, they worked together to hold their ground and successfully defend their camp. The story of Captain Donlin and his team exemplifies the theme of this year's African Land Forces Summit. Unity is strength. Today, we can achieve what alone we cannot, a fact that is all too familiar to all the leaders in this room. We face complex, ever-evolving threats across the continent, from the rise of terrorist networks to the growing problems created by changes in the world's climate. Recognizing that no single country can address these challenges alone, alliances and partnerships have emerged. From the 6 Amazon countries fighting alongside Somali units to defeat al-Shabaab, to the combined efforts of Senegal, Nigeria, Ghana, Mali, and Togo to ensure a peaceful handover of power in the Gambia last year. It is our hope that through events such as this summit, we can forge communications today that will allow for continued such shared efforts in the future. On a national level, the theme is equally applicable. Unified nations are inherently stronger nations. In fact, this motto of unity is strength brings to mind the fundamental principle that is enshrined in America's traditional motto, E pluribus unum, out of many, one. In order for us to be our strongest, we have to come together out of our diversity to make a more unified whole. Like in the United States, many nations in Africa are diverse countries with many cultures and languages and histories. These differences are sources of local and ethnic pride, as they should be. But we need to work to bring us together across our differences. If we do so, we will be stronger for it. Because diversity is not something that needs to divide us. Diversity committed to unity makes us stronger. We have seen that in the United States at key times in our history, and it is true for other nations as well. At its best, the military can play a critical role in building this national cohesion and continent-wide partnership. Because after all, the military is one of the few institutions that brings people together from across the nation, from every race, religion, and class. Where in our Army, a first-generation Dominican American might serve alongside a descendant of someone who fought in our War of Independence. Or here in Nigeria, where an Igbo from Ogoni might fight stand and shoulder to shoulder with the Fulani from Bauchi. At the end of the day, their individual backgrounds are really of little importance. Instead, all that matters, to paraphrase the U.S. Army Soldier's Creed, is that together they are warriors. With such power, however, comes great responsibility, because as we have seen, the military can, at its best, unite a nation, but at its worst, it can tear it apart. In his famous funeral oration, Pericles, who was an ancient Greek statesman and general, he honored the fallen soldiers by underscoring the value that the government sought to defend. He dwelt upon the greatness of Athens' democracy because, as he said, I want to show you that we are contending for a higher prize than those who enjoy none of these privileges, and to establish by manifest proof the merit of these men who I am now commemorating. For in magnifying the city, I have magnified them, and men like these whose virtues are made the city more glorious. Pericles' words continue to ring true today. The strength and the justice of our nations magnifies the sacrifice and virtue, like all of you, who serve to protect them. Yours is a sacred calling to protect our nations, to work for partnership, to build a more peaceful continent and a more peaceful world. I wish you all a very fruitful and successful summit. Thank you.